I'm going to redo that because that was awful. Sorry. Alice, thank you for joining us today on the My First 1000 podcast, where we talk to YouTubers about how they got started and we learn from them about their journeys. Alice, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you for having me. So my name is Alice Cappelle. I'm French. I have a commentary channel where I do analysis about influencer culture, some aesthetic analysis as well, or media analysis. I started YouTube in November, and now I'm almost at 30k subscribers, which is awesome. And outside of YouTube, I'm also a student. I'm a student in Anglophone literature and history, and I'm also a tennis instructor.
Oh God, that's mad. Okay, there's a lot to unpack there. Well, I think the first thing that's really interesting there is you only started your channel 6 months ago, and now you're on 30,000 subscribers. That's mad. It's mad. How have you managed that?
It is. Well, it's been quite interesting actually, because when I started, I was like, okay, I give myself a year. If it doesn't work after a year, then fine, I'll move on to something different. And what happened is that, so the first video that started to go, not viral, but like that got a good amount of views was a video on the aesthetic of dark academia. And apparently it's something that was very much research. It was like researchable content, as we like to call it. And so that's where it started. That's how I got my first 1,000, actually. And then it was just slowly growing. And another video started to get a lot of views, video on the male gaze. And is it making money out of the male gaze? Is it female empowerment, or is it just sexist imagery? That's the title. This one worked pretty well as well. Got a lot of views. So it continued to grow, and how long? Maybe 2 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, another video blew up more than the other ones, actually. A video on alternative self-help. And this one got a lot of views, and what's great is that a lot of people actually subscribe. A lot of people resonated with my experience of self-help and the criticism I had to address. And so, yeah... Now, my channel went from, before that video, I think it was around it was 5k, and now I'm at almost 30k. So that's great. I'm very grateful.
God, that's mad. Well, there's a lot in that alternative self-help video, which was really, really interesting, I think from an outside perspective. And I think one of them was, there's commentary channels, obviously, and there's kind of critical things. You were really quite specific and, with the things you had to say, to the extent where you even had Mr. Matt Diavella commenting and kind of acknowledging your critiques. Yeah, so when I made the video, I was like, oh, are they going to see it? And then when I posted it, I only realized at that moment that it was an option. It was possible that all their fans would come to my video and start to dislike this thing. And then I realized, okay, maybe that's the reason why small YouTubers don't really try to go for those big YouTubers. But the thing is that the video was still quite nuanced. I wasn't attacking them. I was more trying to encourage people to be more critical about this whole genre of alternative self-help, or even self-help in general. And so, yeah, Matt Diavella commented on the video 2 days ago or something. And I was a bit surprised because I thought they would just maybe watch the video, not really react to it. But at the same time, knowing Matt Diavella, knowing how I've seen him commenting on other YouTubers' content, I know he's quite open to criticism. So the reply, what he said in his comment was very positive. And yeah, you can tell like he's a great guy. He's a great guy. He's very funny. And so, yeah, I'm very happy that he commented and he even subscribed to the channel. I noticed it, which is even better. Yeah, it did. And I think it's great. I think it's great because like it's good to be able to have those conversations where we try to be a bit more critical and still seeing those content creators. I'm thinking about this case with Matt Diavella, but also with other cases, other YouTubers who made videos on other content creators and being quite critical. And every time, I mean, not every time, but it seems that people on YouTube
can be quite open to criticism, and I think it's very healthy. It's just dialogue we're trying to create, and so yeah, I was very pleased that he answered. He commented on the video.
Well, I think it's because what you had to say on the matter was significant, and I think he was acknowledging that. So, I mean, if you wouldn't mind kind of re-highlighting what you said, but it was in particular regard to the anti-hustle culture, but if you scroll back up down all of these wildly popular channels to their old thumbnails, they're very clickbaity, they're very hustle culture, they're very work 9 to 5, no, you work 20 hours a day, sleep 3 hours a day, and that's how you get big. But whereas now they're taking a look back and be like, no, you need to drink coffee and enjoy life. So it's I think your points were a bit...
Yeah, that was the whole point. It was just to showing that, it's quite easy now to talk about just living simply, to enjoy every moment, or making videos about how self-help can ruin your life now that you reached that success and that level of financial stability. And just wanted to make a video to, just acknowledge the fact that if you talk about those things, it's because of your previous success and the fact that you very much benefited from that hustle culture hype, and now your content is changing. And it's totally fine. Like, people change. It's amazing. But just trying to make sure people realize, just as I realized, that it can be a bit hypocritical in some way. And actually, when you look at the comment section under my video, I was very impressed at how people reacted, because they very much related to the message I wanted to share, and to the fact that, as much as they like that content, I still very much enjoy alternative self-help, or I still read sometimes a little bit of self-help and stuff like that. And as much as you enjoy that content, you can still be critical, and you can still expose some of the more, let's say, shadier parts of just channels. And one of the channel I talked about in the video, and probably the one I'm the most skeptical about now, is the School of Life, because I would put them in that alternative self-help category, because they're very much into trying to, how could I say that, help people with mental health, but in a way that can just make people so focused on themselves and their internal struggles that they just completely forget about what's actually going on in the world. So that narrative of be kind, work on yourself and stuff like that can sometimes make us forget that if we feel sad, if we feel angry, maybe it's not because of ourselves, and maybe it's not something we need to work in ourselves to fix. Maybe it's something outside of ourselves. Maybe it's the system. Maybe it's things that we see in the media and stuff like that. And so, that was the point of the video as well, is to show that it's fine. You can be angry. You can have negative emotions. We shouldn't be constantly positive and kind and compassionate. Like, sometimes, we want to get angry. We want to shout. We want to go in the streets and protest. It's totally fine. And that's something that I think lacks a lot in alternative self-help. But at the same time, as I said in the video, I totally understand that those people do not want to get too political, because it's not what their audience is expecting. Like, they build a brand around that calm, positive type of attitude, mindset. But I hope they're aware of that. I hope they know that that's the message they're sharing. That was the goal of the video, more or less.
I think you make a really good point there, because they don't particularly, at least from the outside, the more specific someone goes into a perhaps extreme or angry viewpoint politically, the more they're going to alienate a large audience. And of course, the bigger their audience gets, the less you can kind of say politically and get away with. So it's risque.
Yeah, it's true.
But then on the flip side, there's a huge benefit of your channel, because you're saying, a lot of political viewpoints which are resonating with a lot of people. So.
Yeah, it's true. And even more than that, it's also that belief that whenever you get angry, or anybody that display negative emotions is emotionally unintelligent. And very often we would see that enlarged to, this person is just unintelligent. He cannot communicate peacefully. And it's something that can be a bit problematic. But, you know, I think I'm going to do another video elaborating a bit more on that. So not saying any more right now. Going to keep it secret.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Okay, so previously you've taken inspiration from Lana Blakely, actually, where I believe the quote you said was, her videos, they're not saturated with crazy effects, they're very peaceful and slow, and it forces you as an audience member to kind of adapt to this slow pace, perhaps contrary to this very fast-paced hustle culture lifestyle that we're living. I was wondering if you could talk a bit more about that style, because it's very present in your videos as well.
Yeah, I guess in my videos, with commentary videos, you want to make sure that people get as much information as possible from the video, so you want to adopt a pace that is going to help them understand as much as possible and really focus on the video. So it's true that I get a lot of inspiration from people like Lana Blakely, or can't think of anybody else right now, but yeah, Lana Blakely is a big inspiration for that. And just in general, yeah, I was having a conversation with a subscriber on Instagram, and we were talking about the fact that a lot of videos on YouTube, some commentary videos, but I feel like commentary channels in general are more slow pace, taking their time and stuff like that. But a lot of the content on YouTube is very much about that clickbait title, about like not insulting other people, but, you know, trying to sound as sometimes quite aggressive. I was watching a video recently on Shane Dawson latest documentary, or maybe it was an older documentary, I don't really know, and that YouTuber was trying to dissect the documentary. And it's true that when you look at it, in the end, the documentary in itself isn't groundbreaking, but like the way Shane Dawson presented, he makes it, he just presents it in a way that is crazy, that is super interesting, or like come up with as if there was a conspiracy or something. So all those things that you find a lot of YouTube, like people trying to make conspiracies of everything because they want to grab people's attention. But I feel like in the end, if you are able to produce a video that may be a bit longer, that may be a bit slower, but where you give people arguments and information, tools that they can use in the future, well, that's for me, that's what a good YouTube video is when I get out of the YouTube video and don't feel like, oh gosh, there's a conspiracy theory or something like that, but I feel like I've learned something and I am a better human being, let's say.
It's also a quick comparison to traditional, say, documentary formats, even on Netflix or on TV, can be 45 minutes to an hour long or longer, or be series based, and we probably get the same, not the same production quality, but a similar enjoyment and educational experience out of it of videos that are only, say, 10 to 15 minutes, which, you know, we can cover more content, we can learn more, we can be more enriched by our experience online, which is good fun.
Even the time, the duration of the video, I think it's quite important as well. I've realised that a lot of commentary channels or bread tubers, so leftist YouTubers, now produce very, very long videos, hour-long videos and stuff like that. And as much as I enjoy watching them, because it's just an hour and a half of one of my favourite YouTubers, so I'm not going to complain, I think that may be something a bit more, not problematic, but annoying with that, is that format cannot really be shared. And that's something I realised with maybe other commentary channels or more right-wing stuff or stuff like that, where they produce very short content, very intense, sometimes aggressive, and it's very easy to share. You can share that on Facebook, you can share that everywhere. People are gonna they're gonna want to watch this entire thing. And so I feel like as a commentary YouTuber now, let's say, I very much enjoyed that 10 to 15 minutes format, because I feel like people can share it quite easily. People can watch the entire thing quite fast as well. And so, yeah, I really try to just produce content that is very dense to make sure that people can watch it easily, quickly, probably share it, and, you know, get interested in it. And I feel like with the alternative self-help video, it worked in a way because it was quite short, and I feel like people who might not be that interested in commentary channels or more left-wing type of channels as well, might have got interested by the fact that it was a short format and they could get to the information quite quickly. So yeah, I'm saying that I've had conversations with other people about that, the fact that people on the left tend to create very long videos, long content that cannot be shared a lot, that is very much remained in the community, in their community. And I think we should maybe make an effort to try to produce shorter videos, try to produce shorter content that can be shared quite easily to bring more people to the cause and stuff like that. So yeah, that was just a random thought I had, and I wanted to share it.
It's a good thought. It's a good thought as well. I was reading, I believe it was Chaos Monkeys, but what you said made me just so interested. Is I have a theory to do with the algorithm which they alluded to, and it's that on YouTube, of course, or on other social medias, they track obviously how long each session is. So say if someone goes on their phone or on YouTube for 2 hours before they go to bed every night, towards the end of the predicted session, they're more likely to get recommended videos of a contrary viewpoint with a very strong, aggressive thumbnail and title in order to keep your attention span on YouTube longer. And that's a good way for YouTube to do that, because just before you're ready to go to bed, it's like, you know, I'm not going to suggest a title, but a very clickbaity right-wing title. Do you know what I mean? It's going to make people furious, and they're like, no, I must watch this and get angry. And it just keeps people online longer, which is actually quite... who wins at the end? Exactly. Neither party, actually. It's just YouTube. So. Yeah,
it's true. And I guess as much as left-wing YouTubers or will be very critical of that YouTube algorithm and just... the way the YouTube market works, basically, I think we should maybe pay a bit more attention and try to actually play with that as well, and try to use it to our advantage, and try to use those cards to try to get recommended to people, and to share our information and to get to people, basically. Because honestly, I don't get a lot of left-wing videos or left-wing YouTubers videos recommended to me, because either they're too long or they're not very clickbaity or anything. And I feel like if you really want to reach out to new people, to get new people, we really need to work on that. I'm speaking as if I was like the representative of an entire community. It's just
there's a red flag behind
some
you.
of the thoughts. It's just some thought I've had lately, just trying to make the content as inclusive as possible, to bring more people to the cause, to your message, whether you're left-wing or whatever. It's just like with every cause, you want to play with the system in a way to bring people to your message, basically. So yeah.
I would say you do that quite well, though, because there is a lot of your content which is quite, say, on the left. There's also content such as the alternative self-help. That thumbnail title is not politically inclined one way or another. It's a very reasonable critique video, and people are, as you say, they're going to stick around because of you. You've created a very good video, and people did stick around for that. As you say, it brought you from 10 to 30,000 subscribers. So it's crazy. I think you're already doing very well there.
Yeah, and what's great with this video is I've seen people coming from very different places, people who never watch any commentary channels, people who have been watching a lot of commentary channels, people who aren't very politicized, other people that were very politicized. I'm only saying that based on like the comments and stuff. So it was very interesting, and I felt like I was really reaching out to a very wide audience, and it felt very rewarding. It was like, I'm actually making something quite interesting here. It was very positive with this video, but as always, like you still get a lot of criticism, constructive criticism, always okay with that, but also some pretty bad criticism, quite aggressive, quite can be a bit personal as well, and that's something it was a bit challenging, because you hear all those YouTubers talking about haters and negative comments and how to deal with that, and the fact that it really affect them. And all the time I was like, okay, but like it's still people behind the screen, like it's fine, they're not gonna get it, comment you or whatever. But sometimes, you read some of those comments and you go, whoa, like some people are really, really angry. Some people have like a lot of hate, and that's something that was quite new to me as well. Having a video that made quite a lot of views and being exposed so much. And to be fair, I chose to be very critical, and I chose to go with, like, let's say my title was quite clickbaity, so I was expecting to get criticism. I was expecting that some people would just completely disagree or wouldn't even watch the video, but just from the title and the thumbnail would just go and comment something quite mean or whatever. But when you're actually facing it, it can be a bit challenging. And I'm not gonna lie, in the past week or past week, 2 weeks, like a few days after the video started to get a lot of views, I was kind of struggling mentally, because, you know, you get all these people commenting very positive things, saying that you're amazing and stuff like that, and then on the other hand, you've got very harsh criticism. So you always both aren't healthy. You know, like nobody's perfect, nobody's fantastic, and on the other hand, I really believe that I did not deserve some of the criticism I got. And so, yeah, in terms of mental health, just juggling between the two is really challenging. And when we hear that YouTubers have it easy and stuff like that, that I'm starting to realize that no, they don't. And it is very challenging mentally, really.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. In what ways did you cope with that then, I guess? Because that's still very recent. That's relatively new to you, by the sounds of things.
Yeah, true. True. And what I did is that I've always kept a journal. And so whenever I feel like I need to write down a few things, to put some things on paper, then I use it. And to be fair, recently I've been using it quite a lot. So I put my low entry, I put all the thoughts I have going through my head. And honestly, it really helps. It really, really helps. I know it sounds a bit cheesy. To be fair, like a few years ago, I was like, no, never. I'll never use those things. It's very cheesy. It's useless. It doesn't work. But when you start actually doing it, it really, really works. Just putting that down on paper makes it real in a way. It's not like things that you have in your head and just stick around. Like it's actually there. It's on paper, and it feels more real. It feels like you can process that more easily. And so, yeah, journaling has been quite helpful, especially during this year. Well, I mean, with being a student, like working remotely and stuff like that, like so many things to deal with. And so, yeah, journaling was very helpful. I know some people, it doesn't work for some people. I have a few friends that it's clearly not enough and they really cannot just sit down and write down their thoughts. So sometimes people have to go through therapy, and it's totally fine. Like, you shouldn't be ashamed to go to therapy. For me, I'd never really felt the need to go to therapy to actually see someone. Journaling has always been okay and sufficient. But yeah, like that's something I'd advocate a lot in my videos is to always prioritize mental health. And I did this other video on clean influencers and the philosophy, the mindset behind those clean influencers, and just like the clean your room message that we hear and stuff like that. And it's true that I mean, it sounds so weird that people would enjoy watching people cleaning or stuff like that, but in the end, it makes so much sense. We were talking about Lana Blakely and her vlogs, slow living vlogs. Those type of content are getting so popular because people are just, they want that. They want that type of slow living, very aesthetically pleasing or cleaning type of content because it's just peaceful. It's a good opportunity to actually write down in a journal. You know, usually what I do is that I'll put a vlogger or YouTuber I really enjoy, a very nice little video, and just journal while I'm watching that. So yeah, trying to make that a habit is a good thing, I guess. Yeah.
I think I don't know if it's serotonin, but I think it's just those happy juices of seeing something go from mess to clean something, and we see it in a variety of genres as well. We see it in, for example, like the scale modeling. We see it in, hell, even like Lego videos. We see it in cooking videos. Yeah. Things going from a variety of messy different things to a final beautiful product at the end, or a clean house, or a clean room.
It's true.
It's very satisfying, and you don't have to put any of the actual effort in to do the thing. You can just enjoy it over 10 minutes and then be like, oh, beautiful at the end.
Yeah, and there's so many people. I've watched people in France, especially when I was doing the research for the Clean Francis video. There was this woman on the radio mocking people who would watch that type of content, be like, why would you watch someone cleaning their space? Stuff like that. And, those people, they don't really understand, like, they're not, I don't know, I don't want to call them boomers because I don't want to be, but it's kind of true, like they're not up to date. They clearly don't understand how the world works now. Like people very much enjoy watching clean influencers on the internet. Maybe they cannot afford therapy. Maybe they don't have time to do that. And just like a very short 10 minutes video of someone cleaning her floor is gonna make it work for them, So just people really need to be respectful of what other people put online, whether it's on TikTok or on YouTube. There's still like a lot of stigma around YouTube or even TikTok. I've seen so many great TikToks. Of course, there are many TikToks that are just dumb and not very funny and stuff like that, but there are commentary TikToks and stuff like that. So it's always about balance and just trying to recognize that the world is changing, the world is evolving, we are evolving as well. And if you want to stay stuck in the past and just, I don't know, I don't want to be too critical, but it really annoys me. I'm going to make a video on that as well. Just those people who don't want to get out or evolve with the world and just try to understand that there are other things in life than... Calm down, Alice, calm down. Not gonna go too much into
You may have ruined up my economy, but you will not take away my Hoover videos, Karen, alright? That's all I've got. I've got nothing else.
It's exactly it. It's exactly that. It's exactly that. Some Karens or whatever, but... Can't stand that.
They're out of touch. They're miserable.
Yeah.
It's because they can't Hoover very well. It's, they're just jealous.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay, well, I've actually got a bit of a darker segue, actually, because you made your video about the male gaze, actually, and you mentioned TikTok there, and something I feel quite strongly about is I have an issue with the ways in which everyone growing up, both boys and girls, you look up to people a few years older than you and you copy them, and that's what's cool, and that goes on, and that's what life is, particularly in adolescence, essentially. I have an issue with a lot of, say... these dancing trends on TikToks or yada yada yada. We're basically having younger and younger girls perform more and more dodgy and uncomfortable things and feeling safe in their rooms or in their own houses, which they should do to do that, except it's all published. It's publicized online for anyone to see at any age. And I think there's a lot that's bad with that, and I think it's going to get worse before it gets better.
It's quite funny, actually, because my cousin, who's... How old is she? Oh, gosh. Look, thankfully, she doesn't speak English very well. She would be very angry at me for not remembering. How old is she? I think she's 13 or 14 or something like that. And she's really into TikTok and those things, as they call it, the straight TikTok. That's my sister tell me that's how... I don't have TikTok. I don't watch a ton of TikTok. I just rely on my sister to just send me TikToks. I literally told her, if you see anything... that could be interesting for a video or something, just send it to me. And so she sent me TikTok every now and then. And yeah, she told me about that straight TikTok thing. And yeah, most of the girls, teenagers dancing and stuff like that, I guess it's part of that branch of TikTok. And it can be a bit problematic. Because you don't know who's watching you, you don't know who's interacting, you don't know who's commenting on your videos, you don't know what people are doing with your videos. So what's great is that it's behind the screen. That's, I guess, makes it safer in a way. With people, like with very famous TikTokers, I know they have a bunch of people behind them to make sure like they're safe and stuff like that. But when you're young, as you said, and you watch those other girls dancing and performing as they do, yeah, you might maybe want to do the same thing, and you don't have all that network behind you to make sure you are protected, to make sure you're safe. And is that new? Not really. You know, with TikTok, we talk a lot about that, but I remember when I was younger, it was pretty much the same thing with, oh gosh, I'm so old. Do you remember Skyrock? I know in France we used to use this blog thing. No, you don't?
Oh, I'm not familiar with it.
Maybe it's just a French thing. I can't remember. I know it was called Skyrock, I think. Maybe it's just French people trying to use an English word to sound more whatever. But yeah, we used to have those accounts, those blogs where we would put pictures, where we talk about ourselves. And I remember putting very personal information on those websites. I know friends used to do that as well. I remember a girl who posted a video that was very explicit in a way. And she got a lot of bad comments for that, a lot of hate. And on the other hand, people being like, yeah, go girl, and stuff like that. So I guess it isn't new. It clearly isn't new. So yes, there is we need to make sure those girls are very much aware of like the dangers of exposing themselves to the world. But at the same time, and that's something I try to develop in the video you were talking about with the male gaze as well, is that as much as we want to take care of our young girls, we also want to educate young boys, to make sure that that type of behavior, that there is respect, that young boys learn from a very young age that they should respect women. And of course, there'll always be people who just don't really care about that and will continue to behave the way they want to behave. But like, as much as we're trying to do the work with the girls, protecting young girls, telling them that they need to avoid showing themselves too much, we need to make sure that we're doing the same thing with boys and trying to teach them that you need to respect women. It's not because a girl is, teenage girl, like, it's different, but like, for example, an adult girl, it's not because this woman is showing herself in a very sexual way that you can just go and not respect her, like, sensuality, sexuality shouldn't equal I'm an object and you can just go and not respect me as a human being, But it's very controversial. It's highly controversial because, it is very highly controversial. There's so many different things, and actually the video I did was a bit of I haven't really gave a clear answer to my question, male gaze, or is it sexist imagery or just female empowerment, because there isn't a clear answer. It's a debate within feminist sphere. It's very much a debate whether those women showing themselves in a very sexual way are they benefiting the cause by empowering women, empowering sexuality and stuff like that, or on the other hand, are they just playing with the male gaze to the point where they're not really helping anybody? It's very controversial. I don't think we have a definite answer to that. So yeah.
It's a tricky devil, and I think exactly as you say, there is not a clear answer to these kinds of things. It's very, very difficult.
Yeah, true.
But hey ho. But yeah, if you don't have TikTok, there are just the creativity on there is fantastic. I was lucky to talk to Madeline Turner. The films she makes on TikTok are wonderful, so definitely a good platform. So you spoke about the School of Life videos, and you actually had a conversation with Alain de Botton. I'm not too sure if I pronounced that correctly. About kind of the way.
I can't remember what his nationality is, but I guess you have to pronounce it the French way, which would be Alain de Botton. I'm not going to ask you to repeat. It's fine, but get on with it.
I was going to say, I think you say it much better than I do, sadly. So you had a conversation with him recently about the type of content that they were making in the School of Life videos, which I found to be quite interesting. I was wondering if you'd be willing to tell the story there.
Yeah, it was quite funny. So I started to follow him on Instagram. There was the School of Life Instagram account, I think it still exists. And he created a separate account where he would share posts about, it was mostly related to childhood and stuff like that. but yeah, it would share daily quotes or just more or less what you would find on the School of Life, actually. And so it was a new account, I think. And he ended up reaching out to me, just sending me a message. I was small. I was very small on Instagram, so it was just talking to a random follower. There was nothing particular about my account or anything. And yeah, he was just asking me who I was, if I liked that content, and stuff like that. And so yeah, he asked me if I thought they should go back to what they used to do at the very beginning, which was more literature, philosophy type of videos where they would explain or give information about like a specific philosopher or a specific author, or if they should continue with the very psychoanalysis, childhood traumas or mental health or stuff like that. And I said both. It was at a time where I hadn't really reassessed their content that much. I was still okay with most of what they did. But then I read some criticism on what they do. I've seen some videos about other content creators, criticizing them and explaining that as much as they're helpful and that some of what they say can be a bit problematic. Some of what they say isn't supported by science. And so that's why I mentioned in the video, and I was very much inspired by Big Joel, who actually did a 2-part video on the School of Life. And it's true. For example, their videos on mental health are very much use the concept of childhood traumas to explain why you're unhappy, why you're not successful at this, why your relationship is bad or stuff like that. And when you look at the description box, they never really mention any references to any article or any theory or whatever. The only thing you find in their description box is just links to their books. And so it's true when I started to see that, and you know, I'm my master's degree is very much focused on research, and so our teachers are always insisting on the fact that we need to reference every single information, every single fact needs to be referenced. So basically, there is a reference for every sentence, more or less. And so when I saw that, and I didn't realize it in the past, I was like, oh yeah, that's actually kind of problematic. When you're talking about childhood trauma, psychology, you need to reference what you say. You need to explain where that comes from. And so yeah, the idea you get out of it is that they're trying to use that very popular, trendy concept, you know, childhood traumas. There have been a lot of studies showing that there are links between childhood traumas and adult disorders and stuff like that. But when you use it constantly to try to justify every single aspect of our unhappiness, that's where it gets problematic. Because like you're just trying to use that trend in a way to get people to watch your content. And yeah, it shouldn't be the case. Like every scientific information should be supported with facts. And if you want to go in that direction, in a psychology, scientific type of direction, then you need to do it. You need to do the proper work. You need to follow the methodology of research. And under my video where I talk about that and the fact that it's a bit problematic, there are some people, psychologists or people doing a psychology degree that actually said, yeah, you're right. Like, it's actually problematic that they use that concept so much, childhood traumas. Like, you need to be very cautious with that. Because, you know, you hear people in the media, I've seen people coming on TV and just explaining that trans identity or autism comes down to childhood traumas. And, well, like, you know, we're complex human beings. It's a bit reductive to reduce such complex things to childhood traumas. You know, trans identity is not related to childhood traumas. This is ridiculous. So, yeah, we need to be very cautious with the way we use scientific information. And, that's it.
Yeah, that's nonsense. That's disgraceful. Yeah, I've worked with quite a lot of disabled kids. Anyone who's saying that there's a connection between childhood trauma and autism is full of shit. They're completely full of shit.
We're so complex. Like, we're so complex. And autism, I'm not super duper familiar with it, so I'm not gonna say anything I'm too sure.
I'm quite familiar with it. There's zero connection. 100%.
Yeah, okay. Then if you say so, I do believe you. So yeah, a bit confusing, a bit frustrating, and so yeah, that's where the skepticism comes from. Some people were actually commenting, "Oh, you're so harsh on the School of Life and stuff like that," or even on other content creators' channels who did criticize the School of Life. It's clear, it's true. They are very beneficial. I've used some of their concepts and content in videos. I've learned a lot about some of the things they've said, but nevertheless, like, you cannot just. You have to be critical. You have to mention the fact that some parts of what they do isn't normal. So yeah, that's...
Yeah, I think you're completely right. I think people can't go around spouting particularly scientific stuff without providing evidence. And even though your content's more, say, humanities based, you always as you mentioned, you put 20 to 25 hours into just a 10-minute video. It's a hell of a lot of research, a hell of a lot of refinement, and you always cite your sources as well, which is important.
Yeah, I've been trained. Like, I know if one of my teacher or one of my supervisor, for example, go into any of my videos and he sees that I'm not referencing anything, he's going to come after me. So I better do it.
He's a good teacher. He's very supportive, actually. You mentioned your parents were teachers as well, actually. How supportive have they been of this endeavour?
So, yeah, it's quite funny because on one hand... my mom has been very supportive. She's been like, yeah, I'm going to tell all my colleagues that you have a channel, especially the English teachers and stuff like that. She wants to brag and stuff. Very funny. And but on the other hand, my dad's completely different. He's very much like, not really responding to... I constantly come after him. So sometimes I'm like, maybe I'm a bit too pushy with this. Maybe I talked a bit too much about YouTube. Okay, fine. But, like, every now and then I like to brag a little bit, hey, Daddy, you know what, I reached, like, 10k or something. And he'll go, yeah, good job. I don't know if it's because, like, he knows that the type of video I make aren't, like, I know he wouldn't agree with most of the things I say in my videos. Maybe that's why. But it's still very funny that he reacts in such a cold manner. It's fine, like... I don't resent him for that, but I just find it quite funny.
Maybe make a video with him. Do a debate with him about the things you disagree on. Funny.
Gosh, yeah, he keeps on joking about the fact that I got my English, slightly British accent from him when he literally cannot, like, say an entire sentence in English. So, yeah, he's a funny guy.
Oh, that's funny. Well, I mean, it shows that you're also going into teaching, because you mentioned that, I think, right at the start as well. Both your parents are teachers. You're going to a bit of teaching next year in Ireland?
Exactly. So I started doing a law degree. I stopped after a semester because I wanted to completely change lifestyle. And yeah, I wanted to become a teacher, to be more flexible and to be able to do little projects on the side. Because basically what I'm doing is in France, I want to be an English teacher. And so in France, you have two different levels if you want to be an English teacher. Either you try the, let's say, first level and you end up teaching in, oh my gosh, I always mix up with the US and the UK. Secondary school, yeah, I think it's secondary school.
Yeah.
And so yeah, there's this level, and I'm trying to go to the next level. Me and my friends are trying to... Yeah. So we're trying to. It's another examination. It's like you need to prep for that for an entire year, and then you can teach in high school, and you can teach even in universities. It's a bit hard to get into university, but yeah, hopefully. And so yeah, that's where I'm heading. And if I achieve that, I'm supposedly only going to work 15 hours a week. That sounds pretty good, and I would very much enjoy that type of job because it would allow me, as I said, to do other things on the side. I very much enjoy having multiple projects at the same time. I don't really like the idea of having one job for example, a 9 to 5 job and having to stick to that job for the rest of your life and not being able to experiment different jobs, different projects or different things. So I feel like teaching was, for me, it was such a good opportunity to be able to have like a stable job, at the same time do other things on the side that can be a bit more risky, like this YouTube channel, for example. But I really enjoy, and that can be a source of income, actually. It can be also a source of income. So yeah.
Multiple income streams, that's important. Well, let's talk about your kind of entrepreneurial history leading up to YouTube, because this isn't actually your first kind of growing online kind of thing, because you actually had, you briefly mentioned it actually earlier, to do with tennis and your sport, and Instagram kind of relating to that kind of content. Do you want to tell us kind of the story there and learning about growing online, that sort of thing?
So it was a while ago when I was very much into fitness. Like, I was obsessed with fitness, maybe a bit too obsessed actually. And so I started to join challenges online. I created my own Instagram account, a fitness account. And so yeah, I was joining all those challenging, tagging people, interacting with people. And yeah, people started to follow my account. I was following other bigger accounts as well. And so we were helping each other, slowly growing together as a community. And I ended up reaching 5K. I can't remember exactly if I reached 5K or if I was very close to it, but still. And yeah, basically I would just share workouts. I would just put pictures of myself wearing workout clothes and stuff like that. And yeah, I was even thinking about maybe starting to do coaching or create programs. And then I realized, and it actually relates to what we were saying with the School of Life, is that at some point I realized that I cannot really do that if I'm not like a specialist, if I haven't studied it, if I'm not into it, if I'm not like studying it, or yeah, if I don't have enough knowledge, I don't have any qualification in health or fitness. And so who am I to pretend that I can change some people's life just by researching by myself and learning about things here and there. I don't know how to read a scientific paper. I mean, no, I do know how to read a scientific, like a humanities paper, but like in hard sciences, so chemistry or biology, I've never been trained to read that type of paper. And I feel like this is something you need to be able to do if you want to be like a good coach, or if you want to give the best scientific information for weightlifting or for stuff like that. And so there's this girl on YouTube called Natasha Ossian. She's British actually. And I very much enjoy following her because she has a PhD in biology or engineering. I can't exactly remember, I'm sorry. But you can tell that she knows what she's talking about. She knows what good science is. She knows what works, what type of workouts you need to do, how to mobilize certain muscles and not others. And so when I started to discover a channel and her expertise, I realized that no, like I cannot do that. I'm not the right person to do it. And so I started to progressively post less and less on that account. I use it more as a accountability account than a real maybe potential I don't know, a career plan or whatever. And yeah, on top of that, like you get a lot of we were discussing about that with the male gaze actually. You get a lot of people, old man or younger man as well, commenting quite disturbing things on your pictures or trying to reach out to you by private message or stuff like that and sending links or stuff like that. So, there was a lot of positivity. We were all supporting each other, a bunch of women. So when I posted pictures of me with like a sports bra and a shorts, like it wasn't to show off, it was just to connect with other people, other women who did the same thing. It was like, hey, see, like I worked on my ad, like, can you tell? And yeah, the fact that some people that were quite unwanted, older men or weird guys, see that those people were also commenting, following, and just trying to reach out to you, it was a bit disturbing. And I guess that was also one of the reasons why I wanted to stop, because I was like, no, I don't want to get that type of comment anymore. Like, please stop. So yeah, but generally it was very positive. I still sometimes share a few fitness things in stories or stuff like that, and old followers from when I used to be more into it comment and say, oh, good job, you're still doing that, great. And so yeah, but yeah, this is over.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things obviously very wrong with that. I think it's the classic, it's just horny old men ruining the fun for everyone. But it's also, there's this very good thing I remember seeing was it's just far harder simply for girls to enjoy a hobby because they get criticised and kind of examined far more from it than guys do. And that sounds like exactly the case.
True.
Like, a guy wearing workout clothes is not perceived in the same way as a girl wearing workout clothes, which is a mighty shame.
I mean, tennis is such a good example for that. You know, like, whenever you wear a skirt at tennis, you always get comments. Or just, on the way, like, maybe girls shout when they play and you get, like, guys making weird video edits of that. It's just weird. It's always different for... Gosh, I've seen it. Which, you know, maybe you know Maria Sharapova. She's one of the most well-known tennis player, tall blonde girl. And it's true that the way she shouts when she hit the ball is quite peculiar. And yeah, you literally had guys like making edits with that, and I'm like, what? You wouldn't do that.
Get out the house.
You know.
Get out the house.
Yeah, so the way women are, especially in sports, but I feel like I said it maybe 5 times during this video, but I'm going to do a video on that as well.
Well, there was also just this week.
It's so specific. Yeah, go on.
Sorry to interrupt you. I was going to say, even this week, there are massive changes going on in women's gymnastics as to wearing the full-length leotards or not for the exact same issue.
Oh gosh, I haven't heard about that.
I mean, I'm not an authority of it, but I'll link you something I read about it later. But it's essentially, obviously, women doing say if you're backflipping in the air and doing the splits, and that's covered on all angles by the coverage of the cameras, which can obviously lead to, you know, uncomfortable coverage of, say, a routine. A lot of women are saying, no, we want to wear the full length all the way down to the ankles costumes, which and some people are being like, no, you have to wear the skimpy things, and it's like, women's right to wear what they want. Bruh. It's
ridiculous. I mean, women in sport is such a very interesting topic, you know, because it's also a lot of women in sports are, you know, there's this idea that a lot of women playing sports or doing sports are playing against stereotypes, you know. I've heard about that quite recently, and I was like, yes. And I felt I could relate to that in a way. So what I mean by that is when you're a girl and you decide to do a sport, you not only proving to yourself that you can do it, but you're also proving to men that as a woman you can be good at sports, you know? And it can apply to sports, it can apply to other things as well. Like if you're good in math, for example, it's always like you can be quite proud of yourself because you're going against that stereotype that women are bad at math or women are bad at sports. So yeah, so many things to unpack with women in sports. It's really fascinating. Yeah.
I was going to say, we might not have the time here, sadly. But maybe that's something to make a video on, because I think everyone will be very curious.
I will.
Good stuff. All right, well, we'll probably leave it with a final question then, which is, a lot of people clearly look up to you, the content that you make. What would you say to people who, you know, love the content that you make and would be curious about doing their own, and are kind of thinking about starting a YouTube channel, but maybe scared or not really want to for any particular reason? What would your advice for them be?
I guess the typical advice, what I've heard tons and tons of time, every time I watch a video on how to start a channel, is just to do it, to just post your first video. And I know it can be quite challenging, can be quite daunting, but honestly, what I did is that with my boyfriend, we discussed about it and we're like, okay, I need to start at some point. But what's really scared me is that once you post the first video, then people are going to expect that you post more videos. So you have to put them regularly, you know? And because I'm a control freak, I was like, no, I need to make sure like the schedule is fine and stuff like that. But I guess, maybe choosing a deadline, you know, saying like, okay, at the end of this month, I'm putting the video out. Because we all have plenty of video ideas. And even if the video is not like the most perfect video you could ever make, at least you're doing something, at least you're putting out something. Even if you start with private, you put in private and invite a few people to watch the video. That's what I did with my very first video that never went public. best decision in my entire life. But yeah, like just progressively getting feedback and stuff. And, you know, when you're starting, there's only going to be maybe 10, 20 people watching your video. So is it that big of a problem? Not really. People are going to judge you. People are going to judge you whatever you do. So yeah, I would highly advise that you just try to set yourself a deadline, put that video, and just go from there.
Just go for it. Awesome.
Yeah.
That is fantastic advice. Well, Alice, it has been an absolute privilege talking today, and you know, seeing your growth in your channel and the videos that you make. They're wonderful. They're very good fun.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Big fans of what you do. Thank you so much for coming along and talking today as well. We've learned so much from you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. We'll catch you next time.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you very much, Tom. Bye.